everybody, and welcome to the Melbourne circuit for the first round of Season 8 of the European Racing Series. I'm your commentator, Will from FP1. I'm delighted to be joined by Zytrix once again in the commentary booth, albeit a virtual commentary booth. But it was a great test race at Spa last week, and looking forward to some more action here. Zytrix, how are you doing, my man?
I'm not too bad. Looking forward to see what these guys can bring up for us at the start of this season. I know we've got a few already on our minds as ones to watch, so we'll be keeping an eye on a few of those drivers. We'll point them out as they're doing their commentary laps for you, and see what everyone's capable of in this first race of the season here at Albert Park.
Indeed. We've got a few drivers coming out for qualifying. 18 minutes of qualifying before we hop into a 50% race. You can see the drivers starting to come out on track now. Here we got Zorro riding on board with in the McLaren. Was in Tier 1 last season, but has dropped down to Tier 2 here. So we'll see if he can use some of his experience to get some early points in this championship. A lot of new drivers to the grid this season. We're obviously Tier 2 for the European Racing Series. Who would you say you're going to look out for this weekend then, Zytrix?
For me, I'm going to be keeping an eye on TX606. He's proven himself in Tier 2 a few years now, so we'll see if he's capable of taking the crown once again here in Season 8.
Indeed, yeah, two-time world champion, finished third in the series last season in the Alfa Romeo this weekend. We'll see what he can do. See Alfa Romeo launching a lovely new livery only yesterday.
I must admit, I am a fan of the new livery with the inverted colours, and I love the theme that all the teams this year seem to be going down with a lot more straight lines in the livery across the back of the car, because I know Alpha Tauri have got a very similar style, which I'm very much a fan of.
Yeah, you're right on that one. I think, well, all teams apart from Red Bull, who have obviously stuck with the exact same thing as they usually do. Riding on board then with TX606, probably the most experienced driver in this field, at least with this racing series, and we have a yellow flag already in Sector 3.
I think that might just be because everyone's slowing down, getting themselves ready, giving themselves a bit of space for these first hot laps of the session.
I think you're probably right on that one. Let's ride on board then with TX606 as we head into a flying lap here at the Albert Park circuit. Long straight down to turn 1. Obviously, this is going to be... Oh, I have lost connection to Steam. That's encouraging.
Oh dear.
I'll get back in game. Do you want to take over?
I will take over. So, alright. Let me just bring up on my other screen so I know what I'm doing. There we go. Right. There we go. So we're riding on board then now down towards, what's this, turns 9 and 10. Coming towards the end of the second sector of the lap. It's been clean so far. In fact, no, this is 9 and 10. I'm getting lost on my own maps. So we have got a few yellow flags ahead. So I was wondering if somebody's had a bit of an off on the upcoming turn 11 and 12. We're keeping an eye on these corners through this race through tonight, because it's very easy to overstep on the inside of turn 12 and get yourself a penalty. And I think, yeah, 606 has backed out of this lap by the sound of it, so he might be going to go again.
Indeed, I'm back now. I think the other flags were just the Renault's getting a little bit slow in the last sector, as you were saying, just to build up a little bit of speed, a little bit of free air before starting this flying lap. We're right on board with Doctor here in the number 42 Renault machine. Yeah, we are seeing some yellow flags in sector 3. Again, that's just some cars getting some space. Got one of the racing points starting a lap as well. It's GLX though in the Ferrari. He's currently the pace sitter on 119.1. Yellow flag in sector 1, and I think that might be the Ferrari actually. GLX. Again, that might just have been down to traffic though. Of course, it's a 5.3 kilometer circuit. Not the longest on the calendar, but by no means the shortest either. And that means getting a spot on track isn't the easiest thing in the world. You can see getting held up by one of the McLarens here. Now we do have a Red Bull stopped, and it's number 21 of Calusa. Again, that might actually get out of the way.
I think
indeed, he's back on the way now. We've got Jamie Franzi in the Williams, just at a 119.6 to go second at the moment. Only 5 laps up on the board. But still plenty of time left to run. 12 minutes, 55 seconds to go.
Yeah, I think most of the drivers so far have just been out and set sort of sighting laps. I think a few of them sort of set each other onto the wrong foot as well with the amount of cars that we had going out for the first few laps of the session. I think they've decided to wait until there's a bit more room on the track to try and get those fast laps in.
So who what we get your fast up in though? It's Sander who has retired from the session without setting a lap time. So I imagine that's some sort of disconnect. Sadly, he'll be starting the race from the back of the grid.
Keeping an eye on Top Jack 123 at the moment, who looks like he's about to go ahead and start his first flying lap of the session in the number 9 Haas.
Indeed, lovely last corner there. Got it very hooked up. DRS open down the main straight. Let's ride on board with this lap. Heavy braking into turn 1. Clipping that apex beautifully as we head into the second DRS zone here. It's a track that usually, in real life, throws up some difficulty with overtaking, but from what we've seen from these guys so far in the test races, that's not going to be a problem for them today. Heading round turns 4 and 5 now. Into another tight chicane of turn 6. We're into this new sector of, well, what will be a new sector of track for the 2021 season. You can see that little slip road on the right there. That's be the line they'll be taking in real life this year, with the circuit modifications being made to the track. But top track anyway on the old layout, coming through 11 and 12. Now you've got to be really careful on track limits. You can see cut it a little bit there on the Haas, and has backed out of that lap as a result.
Yeah,
That'll be a penalty.
As I say, it is very easy to just slightly overstep. These drivers are obviously going to be trying to take as much out of these corners as possible to eke out those few tenths on their laps. So it's going to be very interesting to see who manages to find that perfect line and who does manage to just overstep.
Indeed. AlphaTauris are coming and set a few laps. Snackmeister in P5, and then Merrin here that we are running with at the moment, P8.
And Dimitri just goes P2 in the number 14 Ferrari with a 1:19.6.
Yes, indeed. A good lap. Still 5/10 of a second off GLX, though. He's absolutely flying out there at the moment. Currently on an out lap. Going for another run. Doesn't really need one at the moment. 10 minutes have to go in this qualifying session. Still a lot can change, though. He's TX606. Two-time champion, then. Not set a lap just yet. Let's see how he gets on.
I'm going to ride on board with TX606, see if he manages to find that sweet spot rounds turn 11 and 12. Smooth through, yep, smooth through both parts. No corner cutting in sight there.
Which means we can go on to this sector of the lap. Obviously a new DRS zone that was added a few years ago now. Should give us a little bit more action into turn 13. And I find this is one of the, in my opinion, one of the trickiest corners on the circuit. Very low speed chicane. If you can maximise your exit here, you get a lovely run down the start-finish straight to the line. What can TX606 do? It puts him 8th just.
Only at 1:20.5. So I'm wondering if he had some sort of wiggle earlier on in the lap that's cost him some time.
I think you might be onto something there. We've got Jensen as well, who set a lap in the Renault. Puts in P4, 1:19.8. A lot of bunch of other cars in the first sector, which is causing a little bit of a drama down there.
I'm riding on board with the other Alfa Romeo of Hydra Dan right now, and it looks like he's got Jamie in the Haas. He's just managed to get out of the Williams. Sorry, he's just managed to get out of the way, going around turn 9 and 10. Still looking pretty hooked up, heading down towards that third sector of the track.
Let's see how we get on with this chicane. 10's okay, 11, he's cut it though. Will he get away with that? Oh, we'll have to wait and see if he gets a lap, but
doesn't look like he's backed out of it just yet, so it might have gotten away with that one just about. It was very fine though.
What's the game now? It does kind of unsettle the car if you go and cut that corner a little bit too much. Let's see if Hydrodan can set a lap here. And he does. Puts in 10th, the 1:20.3. Just ahead of his teammate. 2 tenths ahead of him.
AMS Joel is just come across the line, I believe, to start his first flying lap of the session. who we're looking at now.
Another Racing Point saying a lap just yet. But your top three at the moment is GLX and the Ferrari, 5/10 quicker than his teammate, Dimitri. Then it's Jamie Franzi in third in the Williams and Higgsy in fourth in the Mercedes. Jensen in fifth and Zora in sixth in the McLaren. Calusa, the first of the Red Bulls, is seventh. Make that eighth as Doctor has just put his Renault into P5.
Dragon now coming across the line in the Racing Point. And he must have cut a corner somewhere on the lap because it's not counted as a lap time.
He's going again for it, though. Pushing that Racing Point to its limits. It's now Aston Martin for this year. We've got a couple of slow cars in Sector 2. That was with the Williams and the Mercedes.
Speaking of Williams, I'm watching the tail end of Artex's lap right now. Looks pretty hooked up through the chicane.
Ran a little bit wide on the exit of 11, but other than that, you're right, pretty hooked up. Let's see what it does in the third sector. Get a little bit wide into 12, but he'll probably get away with it. Not shrugged off too much speed. 13 and 14 look a lot nicer, though.
No, he has backed out of that. There's 6 minutes left of the session. We've still got 4 drivers in the session that haven't set a lap time. We're watching one of them now. It's Sam in the Red Bull.
We are indeed coming into the third sector now. Got a pretty clear track ahead of him. There's one of the McLarens, but they're probably a little bit too far up to cause him much issue there. A little bit of a wobble coming out of 11. Might have lost a little bit of time there. But for a man that coming to P19, I think he just wants a banker at the moment. Still enough time to probably pit, come out and get one last go at the track at the very end of the session. Oh, Sammy lost it a little bit, I think, into the penultimate corner there. But a much better final one. DRS open as he crosses the line, which puts him P12 for a 120.027. Just over his teammate Calusa. Jamie, meanwhile, has gone to second in the Williams, a little bit closer to GLX the Ferrari, but still no one beating that 119.1 there.
If there's anybody who can on this grid, I think it is going to be TX606, and he is currently out on track on trying to improve from that P16 he got earlier on with his 120.5.
Indeed, currently lying P16 at the moment. I want to improve on that. Welsh Toast, again another veteran to the European Racing Series. Was in Tier 3 last season, moves up to Tier 2, currently in the pits, 17th. He's probably just changing tyres, and then we'll be ready to give it one last go at the end of the session. Few other flags, but again, that's just down to some cars being slow, letting other guys through. We're on board with AMS Joel's on an outlap at the moment in the other Racing Point. His teammate up in third at the moment. SLR Dragon. Joel will be lucky to get up there in a couple of minutes' time. Lots of cars in the pits now as they start to change their tyres onto the final.
TX606 then, coming around the final corner. Can he improve from P16? He can, but only to P14.
Again, not really what he'll want. It's probably still enough time to maybe go around a slow lap, but those tyres, they're probably past their best now. Two-time champion, not having the start to the season he would have liked. Dimitri is on a lap in the Ferrari, the number 14 machine. Very hooked up through turns 9 and 10. Just glances the wall, which is pretty much where you want to be. Into this tricky section of 11 and 12, though. It looked like he got that pretty hooked up as well. This could be a quick lap for the Ferrari man. Currently that's P4. Needs to find 4 or 5 tenths to get on pole with his teammate. Two corners to go. This looks like a very good lap so far. Let's hope we've not jinxed it for him. On to the final straight, and DRS open as he crosses the line, and it's going to put him P2. Not a bad lap whatsoever.
Exactly what they would have wanted as Ferrari teammates, locking out the front row of the grid.
Indeed, half a tenth off his teammate GLX. He set that lap very early in the session and has not been really challenged since. But let's watch out for Jamie in the Williams, still in the pits. But I would say he would be the next closest challenger. GLX, of course, again in the pits, he'll be probably coming out to try and better that effort if he even needs to.
The other Williams now of Artex looks to be about to finish his first timed lap of the session. Where's it going to put him? Up to P10.
Not a bad lap at all from Artex. Now, will he go for a slow lap and maybe give it another go? Bear in mind, if he's finished his 10th, that'll be the tyres that he starts on. So do you want to take another lap out of those tyres? It's an option I have to weigh up. For the closing minutes of this qualifying session.
AMS Joel then, not having the session he would have wanted. I've seen him hop out for a few laps, but can't seem to hook one together, and is hopped back into the pits with just 2 minutes to go. He should have just about enough time to get out and set one more flying lap, but that will need to be his good one.
It's going to be very tight. He's got about 40 seconds to get back out there. And even then, it's going to be a very quick flying lap here. But GLX on his out lap then. He's going to give it one more go. The yellow in sector 2, again, that's just a slow car, I believe. Yeah, it's the AlphaTauri. He's just getting out of the way of other cars. But it's a Ferrari 1-2 at the moment. GLX from Dimitri. Then it's Jamie in 3rd and SLR Dragon in 4th in the first racing point. Higgsy 5th. Aaron in the 1st of the AlphaTauris is 6th. Then it's Dr. Jensen, Berkey, Artex, and Top Jack. Nat Meister in the 2nd. AlphaTauri lies 12th. Then it's Zora in 13th. Sam in 14th. Calusa in 15th. It's the 2 Alfa Romeos on Hydrodan and TX606, 16th and 17th. Welsh Toast 18th, and then the 2 guys not to set a lap. Sando was disconnected early in the session, and then AMS Joel, who has not really found the lap that he would have wanted yet. He's on an out lap though. There might just be time to get back out there. Dimitri is finished for the day. He's retired from the session. So P2 will be the best he gets, but not a bad showing at all for the Ferrari man.
Calusa then, down in P15, is coming towards the end of his final lap of the session, around the turns 13 and 14 now. It's been looking pretty hooked up so far through the lap, so let's see if he can improve himself from P15. He has got a bit of traffic that seems to be getting out of the way. A bit of a wiggle as he got on the throttle out of 15. Will it cost him any time?
Let's see, last lap for Calusa, and it puts him 13th. It's a bit of an improvement there. Just ahead of Nat Meister in the AlphaTauri. TX606 out for... Ooh, is this a flying lap? It looks like it. A bit of traffic up ahead. 2-time champion, currently 17th. Not where he'll want to be.
AMS Joel then didn't have enough time to complete his outlap, so he is, unfortunately for him, going to be starting at the back of the grid alongside Sander.
That is what I was worried about. He probably just missed it. But let's try and ball with TX606. Lap at the moment doesn't seem all that impressive, but I might be wrong. I might miss something at the start. Dragon and Higgsy, P5 and P6 have also had enough for the day. What can Jamie do in that Williams though? Probably GLX's closest challenger. Still in the running here. Let's see what 606 does as he comes across the line. Couple of corners left to go on this Albert Park circuit. Around the final corner then. What is this going to be? Top Jack has put his hat in the 3rd place. Whereas TX606, I said it wasn't a great lap, it only puts him 16th.
Only good enough to beat his teammate.
Indeed. Let's have a look at Jamie. Jamie's given up on that last lap. He pits, and it means it's GLX who is your pole sitter, who went even quicker there. We missed it. A 1:18.4 in the Ferrari. 0.6 of a second quicker than his teammate. What a lap, and what a dominant way to start this season. GLX in the Ferrari. This is teammate Dimitri in 2nd. Top Jack getting into that top 3 spot right at the closing seconds there in 3rd. Zoro is still out on track, but looking, yeah, that is, if that's a flying lap, then I'd be a little bit concerned. He will pull off into the pits and finish off this session. So an interesting qualifying session there. GLX certainly showing his hand. The, well, frankly, dominant performance. He didn't look like he could be touched all session long. But can he do it in the race? That will be interesting to see. But that then brings to the end of our qualifying session. Let's run you through the order. It's GLX and the Ferrari who takes pole position, followed by Dimitri in second and Top Jack in the Haas in third place. It's Jamie in the Williams, looking quick as well in P4 with Zora in fifth, Dragon in sixth, and Doctor in seventh. It's Higgsy in the first Mercedes in P8, followed by Merrin and Sam to round out the top 10. P11 goes to Neckmeister. P12, it's Jensen. Then 13th for Berkey. We haven't spoken about him in the second McLaren. But solid performance there as well. Artex in the second Williams finishes 14th with Calusa in 15th. TX 606 expects a bit more than that in the Alfa Romeo. He won't be happy with 16th. His teammate Hydrodan in 17th, just behind him. Welsh Toast, newcomer to the tier 2, finishes 18th. And then Sander, who obviously couldn't get a lap in after disconnecting, is 19th. Obviously, Joel rounding out the top 20. Again, struggling to get a lap together at the end there. But here we are. I've got a formation lap first to talk you guys through. Yeah, after seeing that qualifying session, Zytrix, what would you say for this one? Who should we be looking out for?
I think it's definitely going to be a battle between the two Ferraris to take the lead on this one, but GLX did look pretty unstoppable in that qualifying session, so I'd say he's looking very likely to run away with it. As long as his racecraft's as good as his one-lap pace, he should have this one in the bag.
Indeed. I think this first lap's going to be very, very important. GLX can keep that start and keep that P1, then yeah, it's going to take a lot to challenge him, given the pace that he's shown already. But there could be some people, like with Joel, we don't really know how he was getting on, wasn't able to set a clean lap in the end. So he starts P20, won't want to finish there. So what can he do? And TX 606 as well, don't count him out in the Alfa Romeo. Some of these drivers perhaps setting these cars up more for race pace than qualifying pace. We're getting underway then any second now. As the cars get ready for their formation lap. The two Ferraris on the front row. And off they go then. Yeah, GLX are dominant, showing they're 6/10 quicker than anybody else. Everybody's seemingly getting away well. The unknown really is Sander, P19, disconnected early. He will want to improve on that for sure as well. First round of the season though. And you'll be joined by the two of us for the lots of it.
Coming up over the next 18 weeks. Plenty of races in store. And we have got some interesting tyre strategy by the looks of things going on in the field so far. The top 10 all obviously on the soft tyres. Then we have Knackmeister in P11 has opted to start on the hard tyres, as is Welsh Toast and Sander down in 18th and 19th. Everybody else on the mediums, so the back half of the field all going along, some longer than others.
Indeed, 29 laps of this 5.3 kilometre circuit. That's 153.7 kilometres in total. I've not just used a calculator to work that one out. The lap record was before this was a 124.125 set by Michael Schumacher in 2004. That was well and truly beaten by GLX today in his Ferrari car by a whopping 6 seconds. But this is going to be an interesting one. I think coming through turn 11 and 12 as well, I think we could see a lot of penalties dished out today. Yeah, we saw penalties can change the order quite a lot. The IRL race I was commentating on Friday, penalties took away the win for, I believe it's Aliens there. But we're not talking about that. We're focusing more on the following 29 laps for the European Racing Series. We're already on board with GLX as he lines up on pole position. Dominant showing in qualifying. What can he do? What can any of these guys do?
There's a predicted pit stop strategy for the race. Pit window for the soft runners opening between laps 9 and 11. We'll see if anybody manages to stretch that out a bit further, or maybe perhaps tries to go a bit earlier to get a bit of the undercut.
Here we go then. 5 red lights for the Australian Grand Prix. The start of season 8 is go, and it's a good start from a lot of wheel spin actually from GMX. But he gets away well, having to cover off from his Ferrari teammate as he heads into turn 1.
Poor start from AMS Joel at the back, who dropped back straight away. It looked like he just mistimed when to hit on the clutch. He's already fallen way back, but back at the front, these two Ferraris are all running away with it already by the looks of things.
It's one of the Hasses. It's Knackmeister P11 who's spun already in 19th place. Joel as well, you're right, not getting away well either. But it's GLX who leads. Timing screens have gone a little bit funny there. I can confirm he's leading there from his teammate. Dimitri in second place. The Ferrari's keeping line astern so far. Then it's the Haas of Top Jack in third, with Zora and the McLaren in fourth, followed by Jamie. Lost that a little bit. P5 in the Williams there.
GLX then has already pulled out a fair whack of a gap on his teammate over this first lap. Already 7/10. Top Jack, meanwhile, has managed to stick pretty much onto the gearbox of the other Ferrari. We've got a yellow flag. I think that's Welsh Toast in the Mercedes, possibly, going slowly in Sector 3.
He is indeed. He hasn't seemed to pick up any damage. I wonder if he might have disconnected. Because, yeah, he's just lost a load of positions there. Not what he would have wanted. We've got a little battle here going on, though, between the Renault of Jensen and AMS Joel. We've got a bit of a poor start, but he's already fighting back. Fighting P15, and that's Jensen to the pits on lap 1. Not the only one as well. Hydrodan as well has taken... or it's not Hydrodan, it's TX606, sorry. Into the pits. Is this for a new front wing, perhaps? Let's have a look.
It is indeed.
It is.
Not the start that our two-time champion would have wanted in this race.
Indeed, but the big fight here is not for P1, it's for P2. And there's 3 cars in it. It's Dimitri currently occupying that position, but it's a battle already between Top Jack and the Haas and Zorro in the McLaren. It's a fantastic start. GLX, though, currently 2 seconds ahead of anybody else at the front of the pack here. There's a little bit of a mistake from Zorro. Went a little bit wide into turn 6, I think.
Yeah,
that won't have helped him that much.
Plenty of fights all the way back from P2 down, pretty much down to P8. They're running nose to tail pretty much all the way down the field. So one small mistake could cost you a lot of positions if you're running fairly high up in this race at the moment.
You're right, indeed. We're about to head into lap 3, and GLX has done everything he needs to do. He's pulled out more than just a 1-second gap. It's now 2.5 seconds. What is that man doing up at the front? Sets the fastest up at 1:23.5. Nobody else can match that. And DRS is now enabled. So if you're within 1 second of the car in front, as I think we will, I don't think we'll see it right here because the DRS detection zone is at the, I think it's around turn 15. But you'll see later in the lap, these guys will be fighting for P2. Big lockup from Top Jack and the Haas. As Zorro closed in on them.
It's a wiggle on as well as he comes out of turn 4. That's definitely going to keep Zorro interested.
Top Jack all the while is trying to stay close to the second Ferrari, Dimitri there.
Dimitri will be very happy at this fight going on behind him. It'll give him that bit of breathing room from Top Jack in P3 behind him because he knows Top Jack's going to be watching his own mirrors.
Yeah, it's been a very good first sector for Dimitri in the Ferrari. Pulled out a nice little 7/10 gap, but that won't put him completely out of DRS range. The real benefit here, I think, will be Zorro, who gets almost double DRS down this next straight. But again, I think just a little bit too far back. 5/10. Another lock up from Top Jack in the Haas. Don't want to do that with your tyres. Yeah, it's most likely going to be a 2-stop race this weekend. Let's see. This really into turn 1 and then turn 3 are going to be your main opportunities for an overtake. DRS again active down the main straight here. Not quite close with a yellow flag in
Sector 3, that's Artex spun through the final corner.
Indeed, I think he's ghosted, so he's come back on. So must have just lost the back end there. That's Merrin having a little look on Welsh Toast as well. Let's go back to this fight at the front though. And again, these 3 line astern. Yellow flag in Sector 1 there.
Well, that was Artex just had a bit of an off again through turn 1. He's got damage, so he's going to have to pit at the end of this lap, missing an entire side of his front wing.
Yeah, you're right. That's not what the Williams fan would have wanted. Not how you want to start your season off. But still, there's a long way to go in this one. And another 17 races following this.
I'm riding on board with Higgsy at the moment, who is all over the gearbox of the Red Bull of Sam. He's going to get DRS pretty soon. We are going through the first detection point of the lap right about now. Obviously for the second DRS zone just after turn 12.
Joe's been pretty fairly behaved so far. No penalties to speak of. Which is better than the test races, it must be said. SLR Dragon cutting that. Whoa, big wobble, sorry, from Sam in the Red Bull. Very lucky to hold that, but it could put him under threat into turn 1. Another little wiggle coming into turn 15.
Just didn't seem like he could get the traction down as Higgsy gets a big wobble out of turn 16 as well. Both these drivers pushing it to the absolute limit as Higgsy gets past Sam with the DRS down into turn 1. A little bit of contact as well.
A little bit of contact, but other than that, good move. And the Red Bull very slow as Sam there. He's lost another place. To Berkey in the McLaren. I wonder if there's an issue with the Red Bull car there. He's lost it all over again. Gets a penalty there for going off wide.
Meanwhile, back up the front, Zorro's made his way past Top Jack into P3.
He has indeed. Top Jack down to P4. These guys are fairly evenly matched. So don't be surprised if you see this fight continue for a little bit. AMS Joel had a very strong start. He's up to P13 already. But now he's got a 3-second penalty, again, for corner cutting. So just as I said, the guys are being well behaved. Here come the penalties.
Riding on board with the leader then, GLX, who is a country mile out in front at the moment. 4.1
seconds.
He's in a race of his own in that Ferrari. He just needs to keep his nose clean, and this should be in the bag for him.
Tell you what, I wonder if he's got some fuel injection little tricks going on in that second Ferrari, because he is flying ahead of everybody else at the moment. JD, meanwhile, getting past Top Jack, who has headed into the pit. Interestingly.
Is there any damage?
Is this for a new front wing?
Yes, it is for a new front wing. They have got a new one ready.
So he must have picked up some damage on that lap. So just...
I'm wondering if the pass from Zorro may have caused a bit of contact. Perhaps caused a bit of damage to Top Jack.
You may be onto something there. Berkey's picked up a penalty as well in the McLaren. Currently lies P8 in the standings. But the leaders so far, all the soft runners at the front, being well behaved in the first 5 laps of this one. So that really opens Zorro up. No more attack from behind from Top Jack. It'll be a yellow flag in sector 1. It looks...
It's Sam in the Red Bull going slowly.
It is. Another mistake from the Red Bull man. Has he got damage perhaps on that Red Bull? Let's have a look.
He has got he's missing an end plate on his front left on that front wing. So he's had some contact with either a wall or another driver somewhere, and it's really affecting his grip out there.
It is. We saw him squirming all over the place as really the track has suddenly got very, very dark. Could we have a look at some rain here possibly?
That definitely would throw a spanner amongst the works.
It would indeed. The clouds have just come over this Albert Park circuit. I'll tell you what, if he was struggling before, we have a Renault slow meanwhile. Back underway again. It was Jensen. Of course, the yellow in sector 2. Keep an eye on these onboard shots, looking for the...
Zorro makes his way past Dimitri into P2.
He has indeed. The McLaren man on an absolute charge right now.
I think at this point he might be praying that there is no rain, as we see Artex picking up a 3-second time penalty.
You're right, Artex as well. P20 at the moment. Obviously had that incident with the wall earlier on in this one. And now pick up a penalty as well.
Zorro's been...
Sorry, go for it.
Zorro's been unleashed. He's already built up an 8/10th gap to Dimitri, so he is absolutely flying out there at the moment. Meanwhile, Sam has opted to put the intermediate tyres on. Do they know something we don't?
Well, we mentioned it earlier, didn't we? That the clouds were falling. This seems very early to get...
The pit window has just opened for intermediates. It's just popped up the little AWS graphic on the screen. I can't see any rain.
I was going to say, I mean, I don't really trust AWS graphics normally, but no, I'm not seeing any rain at the moment.
I'm just glad we don't get the tyre life graphic in the game.
Let's see how Sam does on these intermediates then. He seems to be struggling a bit. Things if you switch onto these too early, then you're going to really destroy them before you get to really reap the reward. So I think it might have been a little bit too early there for Sam. But I guess if you're line P20, you might as well try and get what you can out of this one. Zorro, though, in fact, he's closing in the gap very slightly to GLX, so maybe this battle at the front isn't over. 5.3 seconds is currently the gap. It was about 5.6 earlier on.
I'm keeping an eye at the moment on the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th, as we see, was that Welsh Toast has started off?
It's Jensen who's
or is it Jensen?
Corner. I think that is no, he's still at his front wing, so he's still okay. But it must have just been a spin there from the Renault man.
We have had a safety car. Sam has gone off on the intermediate tyres, so that's going to completely destroy this massive lead that GLX has got just as Zorro started eating into it.
And that throws, as you said earlier, a spanner into the works. What happens now with the weather? Do you want to have a go and try and test those intermediate? It's not.
GLX has dived into the pits. Let's see what tyres he's going to put on, whether he opts to try and risk on the intermediates or whether he's going to whack on a set of dries. It is intermediate tyres for GLX, our race leader.
Oh, it's not raining yet. That's the thing. I think this is a mistake here.
Ferrari's double stacking. What's gone on to Dimitri? He's opted for the mediums. So the top three.
On the inters as well. So this is thrown strategy out the window, really. What happens now? So
I think it's anyone's race at this point with the way we don't know what the weather's doing yet. I haven't seen any rain, but these drivers must know something we don't for a few of the leaders to be hopping onto these inters this early.
I don't know whether this is a game glitch and we're just not seeing the rain, but this to me seems like the wrong decision from the two leaders here. Unless we're seeing something, unless they're seeing something, as you said, that we can't see. But well, Doctor has stayed out in the run and inherits the lead from SLR Dragon and Higgsy.
See, one man this does benefit, in fact two people this does benefit, is Berkey and Sander, currently down in 4th and 5th. They've obviously not pitted yet, running on the medium and the hard tyres, so they've inherited some positions from the leaders pitting. If it does rain and we do see a lot of these guys diving in, they could benefit quite a lot from this on that harder compound tyre.
I'm confused with this one, I'll be honest, because I can't see any rain out there. As I said earlier, if you go on these inters too early, then you burn them out and you lose all of that tread. I just think that GLX and Zorro have made a mistake here. As I say that, though,
the rain is coming down. I can see it on the camera on Dragon.
And so I was just at to spot it as well. It's starting to fall now. You can see it on the camera lens there as well. So maybe. Oh, but again, this game was up. Well, it was one of the updates either in 2018 or 2019. They updated the game, and it's no longer just a linear path from it's raining and it's inters.
Doctor and Dragon both dive into the pits. Then, obviously, I'm assuming they're hopping off into the intermediates. Burka stayed out on the mediums, though. Could that be a bit of a risk potentially staying out now? We've got the rain coming down.
But as I was saying, it's no longer really a linear path. Now it can either rain very, very gently for a very long time, and you never really need inters, or it can suddenly all just pour down, and all of a sudden, those tyres go off the cliff. So you've got to really, they've taken a big risk here. But I think now most people pitting.
Just a few outliers. One of the outliers is TX606, still running on the hard tyres he started the race on, I believe that is.
He didn't indeed. Or no, he pitted on
lap 2. He pitted on lap 2, yes.
So he came in quite early. But the Alfa Romeo not really had the season he would have wanted so far. That's we are just 10 laps into it. So a long way to go. Finished this race in 6th in Season 7. Currently 2 places behind that now, but as you said, he's on those hard tyres, and I don't know, I feel like maybe that's a risk. Now I think I do agree GLX might have made the right call onto Winters. Depends how long the safety car is out for.
And how long the rain continues to fall. I'm riding on board at the moment with our current net race leader. It's Burka Alkis in the McLaren. Inherited the position because he's not gone into the pits yet. Still running on the medium tyres. Safety car, I think, is staying out for at least one more lap.
I was going to say, I think, yeah, they usually let you know around sector 3, so around now.
The lights haven't gone out yet, so it looks like we've got another lap behind the safety car still. In this lap, there we go. It lets you know very late.
So it is going in this lap. So Berkey now is going to have to hold the field up, but not for very long.
And he has got GLX.
And this will be a really good indicator on which tyres are better right now.
And we have got a 5-second penalty for Jamie for having a severe collision with the Sander as well.
Yeah, he's in the wall. I think Jensen's in the wall. Oh, no, they're not in the wall. They're in the pits.
In the pits.
They were going very slowly. My bad. But we got a battle for the lead. GLX on the intermediate tyres. We go around the outside of Berkey, but not quite going to make that work. Goes for the cutback, and he'll work around the outside of there.
Definitely Inters are the tyre to be on at the moment, it would seem.
You're right, the Ferrari man has made the perfect strategy call there. With a yellow in sector 1. What could
That's
that
Dr. Coco Schnoots had a spin on the intermediates. Dropped all the way down to P17.
Oh, we got a massive cluster of cars here, though. All fighting over P10 on the fringes of the points. And ignore that P9 even. And you can see the rain going down now. We're going to see some incidents, I think. This is about to get very spicy. As we see Higgsy go off, and that's caused a bit of a drama behind. As Top Jack forcing his way past Neckmeister in the Alpha Tauri. Loves the fair now. Will he? Oh, as Higgsy runs a little bit wide, and that opens up the other Haas starting to get through, and he's going to work it on Joel as well. What a move. 2 cars in one corner. And Joel is not having a good time. He's obviously one of those drivers on the hard tyre, and it's just not worked. Higgsy's picked up some damage in the Mercedes and runs off onto the gravel there. That's a lot of time. But it's GLX in the lead for 6.8 seconds from Zorro. As Berkey picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
So top 3 at the minute then. We got GLX back out in front with a healthy lead to Zorro in the McLaren in P2. And Calusa has moved himself up to P3 thanks to all the shenanigans with the strategy in the rain.
He has indeed. The Red Bull man has played this strategy beautifully. As has Sander, who albeit has that penalty, but started in P19, currently lies 5th on track. Big losers, though. You could have said them that kept out on the hards. T8606 has managed to save that a little bit. Has pitted and gone on to the Inters as well. I think he might have pitted with the safety car, so he would have lost a bit of time. Got a big 30-second gap ahead of him till we get to Welsh Toast. And oh, that is Jensen in the wall.
Yes, just picked up a penalty for good measure there as well.
He's got half a front wing, I think, and he is struggling here on these intermediate tyres. Losing places left, right, and centre. Sergeant Dan gets by in the Alfa Romeo as well. So that will have to be another pit stop from Jensen here.
So we were singing the praises of Calusa, who's managed to make his way up to P3. He has got Dragon for company at the moment, who is all over the back of him. Let's see if he can make anything happen down into turn 1 as we come towards the end of lap 12 onto 13.
Indeed, of course, this driving in the rain is completely different to driving in the dry. Different lines, different strategies to stay on track as well. But GLX, that's not phasing him. 8.4 seconds. When it looked like that lead was getting pitted into a little bit, down came the rain, out came the safety car. I think it's turned the race on its head a little bit. But big wobble from SLR Dragon there. Runs a little bit wide as we enter turn 8.
Picks up a penalty for it as well.
He does indeed. That's not going to be what he would have wanted as he's fighting for the podium place here with Calusa.
Big slide for Dimitri coming out of turn 2 as well, as he's trying trying to make a recovery drive after gambling on the medium tyres during that pit stop under the safety car. And we do see Jensen has come out with a new front wing and a set of full wet tyres.
So there could be another chapter to go in this story. If the rain is here to stay, then perhaps the full wet tyres are the way to go. The rain still seems pretty light, so I'm not sure the full wets are quite the answer just yet.
Obviously trying a bit of a Hail Mary strategy because he's not been having the best of races. He's been in the wars a bit around the midfield, so he's just trying to make up a bit of that time that he's lost.
He does seem to have spent maybe more of a lap in facing the wall than he has actually driving. And talk about facing the wall. Whoa. SLR Dragon nearly lost the back end there, losing a bit of time to Kalusa as a result. Great driving there from the racing point. See, with that penalty, but still just past half race distance, we got a yellow flag, as I believe that is Jensen going slowly into. Indeed. So, still got a front wing, which is better than this point last lap. But oh yeah, he's off again. These wet tyres, as I said, probably weren't the answer because he has to go straight on through turns 9 and 10. Yep, we've not gone to the new track layout yet, mate, I'm afraid. He'll have to take the tarmac route for now. How does he handle the next hairpin? Bit better, in fairness. Let's go back to this battle at the front then. Still, Kalusa and SLR Dragon, one of the closest battles on the track at the moment. 4 tenths separate them. No DRS to benefit from anymore.
We have a chain of 3 cars a little bit further back. We've got Top Jack, who is all over the gearbox of Jamie and the Williams, looking down the inside into turn 11. Can't quite make that stick, but is he going to try into 13? He was right alongside, thought better of it going into the braking zone than the number 9 Haas. I think he's just a bit too far back at the moment to try and make the move stick.
We've got a racing point. I believe that's AMS Joel, who has had a spin in the second sector. And I think there's a little bit of damage there as well. And the racing point man. I think there's a little damage on that end plate. Yes, there is. On the right end plate, there's some damage. With a yellow in sector 3 as well, as I think that is Jensen retiring from the race. So he has called it quits for today. Big line of cars here all the way from, I think, P9 up to P12. 2 AlphaTauris having a little bit of a train going on here. And that battle that Sidetrix mentioned earlier. Sander in P5 being hunted down by his teammate and Jamie.
I'm sticking with this battle for the time being because it does look like Top Jack's got more pace available to him on these intermediate tyres, but he can't quite seem to find the line to get past Jamie at the moment. Jamie making that Williams very wide on this damp track.
What can we do into turn 11 and 12? And this is really, if you can get a good run here, and maybe the car ahead struggles a bit. Oh, there's a big gasp there. Are you okay?
Big gasp?
Yeah, did I hear a big gasp? Maybe that was just maybe that was an audio. I thought there was a. Never mind.
As Dimitri's finally made his way past Burke up there, 14th, trying to make as much time back as he can now. He's been hunting that down for a few laps, so he'll be I'm sure he'll be very happy to have finally got past and now go hunting down the 2-time champion that's quite a way down the road, 10 seconds ahead of him, or 3.5 seconds even ahead of him.
SLR Dragon is not liking that last corner. He nearly spun it into the wall again there. Currently P4 in the racing point. Charging down on Kalusa. Still 13-14 laps to go in this one. Plenty of time for things to change. The race has settled down a little bit. Still with this fight here is Jamie now all in the back of Sandler.
Yeah, Top Jack appears to have dropped back a little bit from this fight. I wonder if he's just saving up some battery for another attack.
As Berkey gets another 3-second penalty. So those penalties continuing. So he's got 14 seconds worth of it now.
Speaking of gaps up into the teens, our race leader GLX is nearly 13 seconds out in front now. He's had a pretty flawless race so far, start to where we are at the moment. He nailed the strategy under the safety car and managed to rebuild that gap pretty rapidly once the safety car had pulled away.
Indeed. Jamie's picked up another penalty. It's up to 8 seconds now, but you're right, GLX. Don't want to put the commentator's cursor in, but it's looking pretty set at the moment. Unless something catastrophic happens. The rain does seem to be getting a little bit heavier though, so I wonder, could we see a switch onto the wet tyre? Obviously didn't quite work out for Jensen, but that was a long time ago. The rain does seem to be coming out a lot heavier than it was before. Tommy, that switch right as Sander gets a big tam slapper coming out of the last corner. And could this set up Jamie here in the Williams?
I think he's just a bit too far back at the moment, but it's definitely going to keep him interested as we head down towards turn 3. We can get a good exit.
Got an alright exit, but Alexander just got a bit of a better one. And that's going to keep him ahead for now. Top Jack, don't count him out as well, right at the back of Jamie. If any one of these make a mistake, it'll be the second Haas man to benefit from that. Calusa and Dragon still going at it.
We have got the fight for the final points pay position as well. We've got Dr. Coco, Snoot and Artex are very, very close. Looking to go side by side. Doctor's taking another look at him as we head down into turn 6 and 7. Still
focus on this battle for third, I think, because they're so close now. Dragon and Calusa, it's been and ahhing for a few laps, but Dragon now, seeming the quickest he has been, gets a nice run out of turn 11, and that's going to put him in a bit of a slipstream, but I don't think that straight's going to be long enough. Well, we've got a yellow in sector 3, and that is his teammate Joel, who has spun it on the pit straight.
Lost his front wing as well. He's going to have a very difficult lap back to the pits to replace that one.
Already 45 seconds behind Higgsy in 17th, I think, after picking for another front wing. Tell you what, Joel, his Racing Point engineers won't be a massive fan of him, I think, after this one.
It's a good thing they're all virtual front wings.
That is true. And, I'll tell you what, Jamie, right at the back of Sander. And
big spin, he's lost it, he's hit the wall.
Oh, has that caused damage?
It has, it's taken the end plate off his front left.
Oh, and he was looking so quick there. But like I said, in the wet, can very easily make a mistake, and that damage is going to hurt him even more. But the downforce is so much more key. You can see already coming under fire from Merrin in the Alpha Tauri, runs wide again. This is again, it's going to be a very difficult lap. In fact, he just let Merrin go. It's probably sensible, not worth fighting that one really.
It's difficult enough trying to make your way around with a damaged front wing when this track's dry. In the damp, it's going to be next to impossible to get any sorts of grip through these corners and keep a decent speed.
That's opened up a battle for the Hasses as well. Obviously, Top Jack benefiting, moving up to 6th and lining up Sander for a move. Taking a different line, a much wider line than his teammate. Sander, of course, started P19, is up to P5, so he's in the cracking race. But here we go with a run now. Down into turn 13, we'll go down the inside. The Hass guys don't want to make contact here. This is good points. The last time Hasses ran P5 and P6 in the straight didn't end well, but sticking sails side by side. Heading into the last section of corners now. It's going to have to go round the outside of turn 15. Can he make it? Leave space on the outside. Will he give him the inside line of the last corner? And what a move. Fantastic racing there from the two Haas guys. It might not be over. Really, as we look into turn 1. Strider having a look, but yeah, Top Jack making that very wide into the first corner.
Sander picks up a penalty as well just at the end of that battle. It was fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing by both of those two Haas drivers.
It was indeed. We've got Doctor has just gone down. So he's going to the pits. That's right. It's another new Williams. Oh, it's another new Williams front nose then. This time for Jamie. Any cars haven't gone on the wet yet? Not quite. So still stick with intermediates for now. We might get to a very interesting stage late on in this one, where you need wet tyres, but is the benefit really there from pitting?
Not only that, but we are starting to see some discrepancy in the age of these intermediate tyres the guys are on. Could that play a factor as they start to wear through them in the later stages of this race as well. Obviously, we've got Doctors just pitted for a new set of inters, whereas everybody else has either got 7, 9, or even 10 lap old tyres on their car.
Of course, remember that Zora and GLX pitted right at the start of this one, where really it was still dry. As we have a yellow in Sector 2. It's one of the Alphas that's slow. It's
TX606.
Who I think is at the moment. Still got a front wing, though.
It looks like he has got some damage, I think. No, never mind. That was just the camera angle I was looking at.
Still, we've got this fight for P3. Calusa holding off Dragon. And the Hasses are starting to join this battle as well. So Top Jack pulling out a little bit on his teammate now. With a 3-second penalty for Dragon, could that give him a P4 in the Haas? Would be a good way to start the season.
I wonder if he knows that Dragon has got that penalty at the moment to try and close down that extra 1.1 seconds he needs to take that position.
What other close battles have we got on track? Artex within a second of Neckmeister. He's got the Mercedes of Welsh Toast behind him. He's had a pretty solid race in the Mercedes there. Riding on board with them now. It was his first race in Tier 2. I'm sure if he could get points out of that, he'd be pretty happy. Artex currently closing in on the AlphaTauri in front. This battle for third still not over yet as well. We have a yellow Sector 2. I think it's one of the Ferraris going slowly. They all seem to have got away with it.
No, I think it was Joel in the Racing Point who has managed to lose another end plate off of one of his Racing Point front wings.
I tell you what, I've not seen that before today. A Racing Point with no front wing on it. And getting all that shape coming out of turn 12 there. Keeps it together. And Joel 1 minute and 22 seconds behind Jamie in the Williams.
He's about to get lapped by, who's that? Is that Burke and Hydra? I believe.
That way. As Artex get past Neckmeister, I think Neckmeister's heading to the pits. He has indeed. So he's going to the full wets. Right, this gets interesting now. So 8 laps to go. And the first of our wet runners.
It is looking very, very wet on that pit entry, so full wets might be the right call here.
Welsh Toast as well puts it on the wets, and GLX is pitted from the lead too.
And onto the full wet tyres. He's already taken the lead back from Zora on those as well, so that might be the right call right now, is to hop onto those full wet tyres.
Indeed, the only overtaking he's really had to do all weekend.
And you can see how much better those tyres are. He's already 1.3 seconds down the road, 1.4. So those wet tyres are definitely the right call right now with the way the track is.
You're right, just look at it now. We're a long way gone from that soaking wet track that we saw before. SLR Dragons picked up another penalty, which won't help him out too much. But the big winner so far, Calusa, really, he's currently running third. He started 12 places behind that back in 15th, so I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with this one. The big benefits from that safety car. Sander as well, I've mentioned, up from 19th to 6th, and Artex as well in the Williams car.
Interestingly, Calusa's chosen to stay out this lap, as has Zorro, both on the intermediates.
Is very interesting. What could they be trying to benefit from there? Maybe and we've already seen that Zorro has absolutely no pace on those tyres. As Dragon comes in. So this is going to be interesting, because Dragon now going on to the full wet tyre. Could this be the undercut he needs to get past Calusa? I think Calusa might have just made a mistake there and not going out.
Yeah, so we have got the McLaren of Zorro, the Red Bull of Calusa, and the Haas of Sander decided to stay out, as well as it would appear that the Renault of Dr. Coco Snoot and the Williams of Jamie have opted to stay on the intermediates for another lap as well.
Maybe they're just going to see if they can hold it out for these last 8 laps, but it's not going to be easy. We're right on board with our leader, though, at the moment. TLX, who really, he's already 10 seconds ahead of Zora. He passed him a lap ago. This is incredible pace from the Ferrari man at the moment. This drove a faultless race, pretty much got every single strategy call spot on.
And every bit of pace he's had on those dry tyres throughout qualifying and the first part of this race, he seems to have twice as much when the rain starts coming down. Been an incredible race.
The hats off to him. We've got Joel now being lapped by Berkey in the McLaren. A weekend race for Joel that has just not worked out the way he would have wanted. They're all fairly split out though. Your closest battle is between Doctor and Artex, the fringe of the top 10. Let's have a look. It's going to be a diving move. It has to be on the outside of turn 11. This is not going to end well. Cuts him off. Oh, I think, yeah, Doctor just let him go. Artex, of course, on those wet tyres, so Doctor really couldn't fight with that. He'll come under fire.
We have got
as well.
We have got some more pit stops happening. We've got Zora and Calusa both come in for new sets of intermediate tyres.
That is very, very interesting.
You can see how much time they've lost from that one lap they stayed out on those old sets of inters they had for the wet drivers.
With a yellow in sector 3, that's just cars going so slowly because they're on those inters. And we've got Doctor coming in for, I imagine, there's a pit stop onto wets. Swap onto another set of inters for Calusa and Zora doesn't make much sense to me.
Calusa's already losing places to the drivers on the wet tyres, down into 7th.
And look at Dragon, who was just behind Calusa, is now 4 places ahead of him after that round of pit stops. That, to me, I just don't think was the right call. I know I've said that a lot today, and I've been wrong for a lot of it today, but I think this time I might actually have something.
I think you're onto something, because Dragon is absolutely eating away at the gap to Sander in second, who stayed out.
And look at Merrin on Zora as well. He's going to go down the inside at turn 9. Zora gives him the space. That's a fairly straightforward move. Unless the rain is planning on getting cleared up. I can't see this going particularly well. Calusa's lost places to Knackmeister and Welsh Toast as well. So just as I said, that Calusa was having a storming race, it's all kind of unravelled in the closing stages here. 5 laps to go. GLX from Sander, who is currently really holding out SLR Dragon.
And he's staying out on those intermediate tyres as well. Definitely not the right call. He's going to lose so many places in this last lap, and this next lap, as all the wet tyre runners are making their way past. You see Dragon just flown by him, and his teammates gaining on him at a massive rate of knots as well.
With a yellow in sector 3, and that's a racing point in the wall. It's AMS Joel. On the wet tyre, interestingly, and what's been a fairly dismal weekend comes to an end. Couldn't set a lap in qualifying, and then wasted more front wings than Sebastian Vettel did in the season.
A virtual safety car to clear up that racing point as well. So are there any of the intermediate drivers anywhere near the pits right now? Doctor was and decided not to pit.
That, I don't know why Doctor stayed out on those inters. Honestly, if Sander, to be fair, has a 9-second gap here. There you go. VSC's gone, so he's lost that chance. I was going to say, like, Sander, this was his opportunity to maybe pit. With that 9-second gap, he could have salvaged something, but I guess it was a gamble with track position. But unless the rain improves, I can't see these inters working for him. 14 laps old as well. They'll be acting like dry soon enough, and we can see that has in the wall. Like Joel. And you've got Merrin here taking it very easy through the 11 and 12 chicane as well. So your closest battle then is this one right here. PRTA takes on Calusa, Calusa on the inters, and there's another car involved there as well.
The Ferrari of Dimitri is all over the back of this fight on the wet tyres. Still making his recovery drive. And he's taken Dimitri.
Oh, you know what? That's not going to be what the Ferrari man wanted in Calusa's weekend. From what was going so well. Ends spun around in the 3rd sector. I think, let's see, did Dimitri get away with that on damage?
I think he did.
Yeah, he did.
And we do see Calusa pulling into the pits now, I assume, to put those wet weather tyres on. I think he's finally bitten the bullet on that one.
And this is going to put him right at the back. He was running in P3 only a few laps ago.
Yeah, wet weather tyres going on then finally realised that's the right tyre to be on.
At least managed to get through that without damaging his front wing. As Berkey gets a 5-second penalty for speeding the pit lane, he comes in as well.
And he's retired.
And he's retired, yep, so Berkey's called it a day. 16 cars still running the race, which, given the fact that it is soaking wet at the moment in Albert Park, is pretty impressive, I must say. As Marin has just taken, Sander was about 9 seconds behind him about a lap ago. We see Dimitri falling down as well, as he's in a fight with Zorro, also on those inters. And gets him back, heading into turn 10.
Doctor looks like he's about to lose another position as well for the gamble on the intermediates, as he's got Artex for company just behind him in the Williams on those wet tyres. He just got no grip at all coming out of turn 10. It just, the back end does not want to stay put. And of course that means Artex can fly past.
I'm just going to stick on board with Hydra Dan here, who, just look at the rate of knots he's closing in Zorro. There's no point really pitting if you're Zorro now. You might as well suck it up and get through this last stage of the race. And indeed, that seems to be what he's doing. But in a couple of corners, Hydra Dan is right on his back end. And will make a move on the pit straight. Won't need a corner to do that. Seasons run side by side. Zorro getting a little bit of speed as we come towards the first corner. He's actually going to keep it ahead. It's a great defensive driving there from Zorro. But loses the back end coming out of turn 2. And Dan's going to go around the outside now. Can he manage it round the outside? Let's see. Side by side again. Just look at the lack of traction that Zorro gets. And he's down to P10. And I think he'll be out the point soon as well. The man who was running in P2. Just getting swallowed up with a bit of a poor strategy choice. As Jamie gets past Doctor. Cars been all over the track at the moment, haven't they? We've had those that were looking set to be in for a podium now down out the points.
Yeah, this rain definitely has spiced things up a bit in this race, where many different things we've not been expecting happening going on, and many fights, strategy gambles. This opening race of the season has had it all so far.
Yes, indeed. Top Jack at the moment. Looking like he'll get this P2 anyway with SLR Dragon's penalty, but does he know that? Or will he try and go for a move anyway? I remember at the start I said, oh yeah, they've been fairly well behaved so far. That was about 6 laps in, 27 laps in, and that picture's not quite as clear as it was. We've got a yellow in sector 3.
Higgsy, is it?
Is it Higgsy?
He did lose a position, so I think it might have been Higgsy having a bit of a moment in the Mercedes.
Yeah, you're right. I saw Doctor might have been a little bit slow as well on those inters. Look at just the back end, or lack of it, coming through the last few corners, and how tense he has to be on the throttle. Top Jack within 5 seconds now of SLR at the front of the order. So we could still see a move here. 2 laps to go. But GLX, unless something dramatic happens in these last 2 laps, will be winning this one. I hope I haven't jinxed it now for the guy.
Top Jack seems to be getting ever closer to Dragon for that second podium position on track, at least. Of course, if he keeps his nose clean, he's going to get that.
I think it's the first race of the season, and really he wants this point. He wants this bragging right, doesn't he? 0.6 of a second. 2 laps to go.
Gonna ride on board with him then down through turn 1. You can see how much it's raining just on the T-cam as he struggles to get the power down.
Yeah, got a big kick of over coming out of 2. Slight lock up in a 3, but still a better corner than Dragon did. Got to get that perfect throttle positioning on the exit corner here. And that makes all the difference in the wet. As Jamie gets past Zorro. The man who was in P2, now down in P13, the McLaren. Not the start of the season he would have wanted when it was looking so strong before. Zorro as well really made the perfect call at the start. But that's
big lockup. Big lockup for Top Jack as he heads down into turn 9 there. That's going to give Dragon a bit more breathing room as we head towards the end of this penultimate lap.
Yeah, GLX comes in to start his final lap of the race now. And you know what? This race has thrown everything at him. Safety cars, virtual safety cars, light rain, heavy rain. And yet, really, that lead has never really seemed to doubt.
He has seemed pretty untouchable so far.
What a way to start the championship as well, with a dominating win. This fight for P2, pretty much over now anyway, but on track it isn't. SLR Dragon got a much better final corner there, which is going to give him a little bit of breathing room into turn 1. Zorro is just formed by Pigsy as well. And yeah, the McLaren's man's there going from bad to worse. Same with Calusa, who has now switched onto wet tyres.
We've got a bit of a battle further back for 11th and 12th. The two Williams drivers side by side down into turn 13. Jamie goes round the outside of his teammate, Artex. Very nice move to take P11 away.
It's a yellow in sector 3. What's caused that then? I think it might just be the cars going slowly.
It's TX.
GLX then, coming around the final corner of what has been an utterly dominant showing here at Albert Park. He was never really seemed touchable here. And he comes across to win the first race of the season here for the European Racing Series. Dominant race.
Really important up at the top. Top Jack. Oh, in fact, not quite as important. But Top Jack just picked up a penalty. I just realised that Dragon had 6 seconds. If Dragon had 3, that would have meant Top Jack wouldn't have inherited that podium. But fortunately for Top Jack, Dragon's managed to pick up a couple of penalties so far, so that 3 seconds he's just managed to get won't take away the P2 slot from him.
Yeah, what does that say? 38 seconds between P1 and P2, and it's Doctor going backwards across the line in the Renault.
Finishing the first race in style.
Merrin's gone off on the last lap, look. Well, it might have just been a glitch. He's back on track now anyway. Yeah, Doctor's having an interesting show of it at the start-finish straight. Gets a 5-second penalty in for an unserved penalty, but I think he'll get away with that with a 6-second gap back to Welsh Toast. No, Welsh Toast getting up to P4 then. Never mind. And it's Knackmeister in P6 with Dimitri in the second Ferrari. Started P2, has to deal with P7 today. There's the Alphas in P8 and P9, who really, yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, good race for both of them. They both qualified low down the order. And then Jamie, another race of what could have been. Fighting the Hasses. Remember, Top Jack now up to P2. But that front wing damage really put him out of this one.
So you see Haas spinning across the finish line as well as Sander to finish that race in style.
Guess they're having a bit of fun here at the end. But driver of the day then, Welsh Toast in his first race in Tier 2. Not a bad showing for the Mercedes man. It's a bit of a shaky qualifying. But there is your podium then. GLX, what a race. What a race, and what a way to start the season.
That's definitely the start he would have wanted. He's definitely shown himself in this opening race. He had a very dominant qualifying, taking pole position by about 0.8 of a second, and then to win the race by 38 seconds as well. He's definitely put his name into contention really early on in this season. Let's see if he can carry it through next week.
Indeed. So that's all through the order then. GLX with a dominant win in the Ferrari with Top Jack in second and SLR Dragon losing that P2 spot but still getting a podium in third. Then it's Welsh Toast. Started 18th on the grid but finished 4th. What a race from the Mercedes man. Then Merrin in 5th. Knackmeister 6th with Dimitri in 7th in the second Ferrari. Hydrodan in 8th. TX606, 2-time champion. 9th with Jamie running at the top 10. It's the second Williams of Artex in 11th. Sander in 12th, Higgsy in 13th. Then Zorro running P2 for a lot of the race, but a bad call at the end, sticking with Inters, puts him down in 14th. Then Calusa, Doctor in 6th, and that was your finishes. Berkey retired towards the end. MS Joel had a bit of a shocking weekend, it must be said, ending it in the barriers at turn 12. Then it was Jensen and Samar, the two non-finishers, who again just really struggled in this Albert Park circuit. What a race there. And what a way to start the season from GLX. Can he keep that up? That'll be the big question. What were your thoughts on that one then?
Well, that was definitely a proving ground of a first race of the season. It's thrown everything at our drivers. We've had changeable conditions, wet weather, pit stops, overtakes, the lot. It's been a fantastic opening to the season, and if we have 17 more rounds like that, we are in for an absolute belter.
Indeed. I think we're going to try and get some interviews in. So I can see Zorro is in the tier 2 call. Don't know whether he knows we're going to move him to cast the voice, but we're going to try it and hope that this works. Let's give it a go. Zorro, I know you're muted, mate, but can you hear us? It's our commentary commentators here. Obviously, maybe not the race that you would have liked, but what were your thoughts on that one? Okay, he's muted. He might be able to hear us. All right, I'll move him back. We can try and get Calusa, though. Let's see if we can get Calusa in. Calusa, can you hear us? It's your commentators here. How did you find that race?
I'm not sure they can chat in here.
That might be it. That might be it. I'll move him back to tier 2.
Calusa's just met. Yeah, they can't chat in the caster room. Okay, it was a nice plan.
It was a nice plan. I'm going to hop into tier 2 and I'm going to try and chat to him. Let's give that a go.
Yeah, I'll join you up there.
Kalusa, can you hear us okay now?
Yes, I can. Hello.
Lovely. Sorry, we've got it working eventually. Yeah, a bit of a tricky race there at the end. How did you find it?
Actually, I was pretty glad I had the right strategy in the beginning. But yeah, the game somewhat screwed both Zorro and me over by switching the suggestion for wets and inters basically every half a lap for like 5 laps. So we decided to stay out on inters, which definitely wasn't the right thing. So we dropped well out of the points, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, but I mean, you did have very good pace in the middle of that race, holding off the racing points really, really well. So I guess that sets you up quite well for the rest of the season. Still 17 races to go. What are your targets, I guess, coming into season 8?
I definitely want to get a podium. It's quite sad that I think I already blew the best shot I was gonna get today. But yeah, I definitely aim to be finishing in the points every race now and see where I get with that.
Well, best of luck next week for round 2. Zorro as well, very similar strategy to Kalusa. Was the same sort of issues that plagued you in that one?
Yeah, it's just the Jeff told me in Calusa also to switch from inters to wets to inters again. So in the end, it also said that it was gonna dry up. So I thought let's go to inters and see what it brings us. But it stayed full wet for the end until the end of the race. So
Yeah,
that didn't help us.
We were mentioning it on commentary. We were saying that maybe that was what was happening. You were wanting to hope once the rain to really die down a little bit. But I'll ask you the same questions I asked Calusa. What are your targets now? Is he back in tier 2?
Yeah.
What are you thinking going into this season?
I mean, I'm hoping for a couple of wins, but I mean, if GLX stays in here, I don't think fighting for the championship is going to be possible. But we'll have to see what happens. The season is still long, and let's have. I mean, I'm mainly here for the fun, so let's have some fun in here.
Exactly. I love that. Sidetricks, do you got any questions at all? I feel like I've stolen the show so far.
No, just to both of you, sort of. We know what your targets are. Have you got any drivers after this first race you're going to be keeping an eye on that you think might be a bit of a rival of yours going through the rest of the season?
Dragon has some similar pace, so I'm hoping to have some good battles with him and be that best Dutchman in the end of the standings. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, plenty of time to see how this all plays out.
And Calusa, what about you? Any people you're keeping an eye on? I guess Dragon as well with your fight today.
Yes, that would be amazing, but I think he's quite a bit faster in the dry, so under normal race conditions. But I think basically everyone who's fighting from top of the midfield to the real midfield is going to be fairly close. So if I can get some good results in there, that would be really fine for me.
Fantastic, guys. Thanks so much. Best of luck next week. And yeah, we'll be cheering you on for round 2 next Tuesday. Thanks, guys.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
Yeah,
so
thank you
sure.
guys.
And I guess, yeah, before we end it off, just, yeah, Zytrix, your final kind of thoughts today?
Yeah, so I'm very impressed with the showings we've had. GLX has been absolutely untouchable. If we can keep that up, I think we are definitely looking at a potential champion going forwards. I'll be intrigued to see what some of our other notable names can do later on in the season. Obviously, Welsh put out a great race today, moving up, getting driver of the day from, what was it, P19. He started in. TX didn't have quite the race he probably would have wanted. And of course, don't rule out Dimitri in that second Ferrari as well. He definitely had the pace. He just had a few dodgy strategy calls that have cost him that P2 today. So there's definitely a few names out there to keep an eye on.
Indeed. And we'll be streaming all races from Season 8 of the European Racing Series over on the FP1 commentary channel, also on Zytrix's Twitch, which you can find by heading over to the ERS Twitter page as well. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. Lots of drama to come. We're only one round into this 18-round season of ERS Season 8. We'll see you next week, but until then, have a good one.
Bye-bye.